Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, energized by KL Ammo Gamebore US, with your hosts, Jason Rambo and Sean Alley. Coming in hot with the 411 on all things sporting clays. Your go-to source for information, education, and entertainment, from the new shooter to the seasoned competitor.
Oh, I'm a junkie, man. I want to play with the buttons.
He just likes to throw people under the bus. You're not used to that yet. That's part of the show.
Does your brain hear what your mouth is saying?
Hey, I'm going to call Dave when the podcast is over and ask him what half the words are.
Let's rapid fire. Let's do the hot seat. Let's get her done.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. And now, it's showtime!
You know, every time I hear that intro now, I imagine there should be people probably listening saying, what do they got, like smoke machines going off, fireworks in the background, you know, cheerleaders in the back. I feel like it's entering a rock concert or something.
What's up, my co-host, my large mammal friend, Mr. Alley.
We are back in studio.
Another week on the grind.
Yeah, talking about sporting clays.
Yeah, and we've got a really cool manufacturer coming on.
Yep.
Qmaxx.
Good stuff.
Yes, I've used it for 2-3 years now at least.
Yeah, I was going to say at least a couple, 2-3 years.
Yeah, and I just absolutely love it, man. I stand by it. And
it's good stuff.
The fact that that Dave's going to come on here in a minute and talk to us about that, I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah. How's your shooting been progressing?
I thought this was supposed to be a fun podcast.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it's actually.
How's that apple pie recipe coming?
Right. No, it's getting a lot better.
Gotcha.
It is. I'm seeing improvements. I'm really finding the benefit in what both Chad and David have helped me with. And no, it is. It's coming along.
And you just purchased a new shot cam, didn't you?
Yes,
have you used it yet?
Yes, I have been, and boy, what a benefit.
Cool.
To anybody online that thinks, oh, it'll show you where you missed but not why. Anybody that thinks that, it's 100% the opposite. If you know what you're looking at, if you pay attention, you can see, oh, I made this move and that's why that happened.
Yeah, I actually took them up on the upgrade offer, sent my old one in. They traded in, got a new one. And I haven't had a chance to get out yet and shoot with it. We've just been so doggone busy with remodeling our house, and then, you know, work's been picking up and all that stuff. So hopefully this weekend get out and maybe do a little bit of practice.
So you traded your old one. Did you have to wipe like 4 inches of dust off of it before
2.5.
you put it in the box?
2.5 inches of dust.
So you're actually going to use this one?
Yes. No,
I'm going to utilize it.
I used the last one. I just hadn't used it for the last year because it just had been so daggone busy. It's a great tool. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt it's a great tool. And if you're the type of person that can't get to a coach regularly, or, you know, you just have a little bit of room in your backyard to practice and you don't have anybody to practice with, that's probably your answer for figuring a lot of things out.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Well, what's cool is both Chad and David want to see some of the footage of anything that I missed. Obviously, they don't want to. You broke it. But if they want to see what's going on. And
I mean, you could really look at that stuff. I mean, initially I didn't know as much as I know now about the game. And back when I was first analyzing my video from the shot cam, I saw that I missed. Yeah. And if you slowed it down enough, you could actually see where your shot was going. And then now, you know, I can definitely analyze things a lot better. And I realize it's like, okay, I was overleading it. I was underleading it. I shot above it.
Well, but it's not just, but that's not, yeah, you're right. But what I'm getting at is the move that was made to the target.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, by knowing whether you were in front or behind or above or below or whatever, you can kind of walk it back and say, okay, what was I doing right there at that moment?
Right.
That's the key.
You know, for me, you know, if you're shooting the same pair over and over and over again, and then you Dutch a pair, or you Dutch one of the targets, and it's like, I don't understand. I've been hitting this the same, and then you go back and watch. It's like, oh yeah, my whole point's 3 feet different than what it was last time.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Duh.
And you'll pick up on that. You will.
Right. So, very, very useful tool, and I hope everybody's taking advantage of that. That listen to the podcast. They offered that discount there for a little while.
Yep. Very nice of them.
Yes. I don't know if that's still going on or not. I'd contact them. But
anyway,
I
imagine if you can make a phone call to them, they'd probably take care of you.
I think they would.
Yep.
Another thing too, we got, after our guest, when we do our segments, we've got a new segment.
We do.
Woolley shooting.
Yes.
And I think everybody's really going to like who we're going to have on. I'll leave it for surprise.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but yes, highly, highly entertaining. So definitely stick around to hear this thing.
Well, not just entertaining, it's who he is.
Well, yeah, well, definitely that. But the guy's just a riot to talk to.
Oh, I can't.
I mean, I think me and you laughed harder at that than we did when David was here. So
yeah, and that's a lot to laugh at.
And that's a lot of laughter, yeah.
So, but no, you guys stick around. After our guest, Dave McCreery, with QMaxx, we're going to do an OtoPro and Woolley segment, and I think you guys are really going to like these. But, Sean, let's get to Dave. He's waiting on us to give him a call. All right, I am very excited about this. On the phone with us from QMaxx, Dave McCreery. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing wonderful. How you two doing?
Doing great, Dave. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. You guys have a neat program. It's kind of neat, all the promotions and, promoting, shooting world and hunting world and all kinds of stuff. You guys got a neat program.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Dave, for those that don't know the QMaxx story, tell us how all this came to be.
It's a long story. I started working with a guy out of Africa is really where it started, and about developing some products and stuff like that. And then I was talking to some of the major gun manufacturers in the world about developing some products for them. And they said their number one problem that they deal with all guns in the world is rust and corrosion. Because once rust and corrosion starts working on metal, any metal, doesn't matter if a gun or fishing reel, whatever deal, rust and corrosion really starts the root of all problems. It starts about, lubrication with the firearms, rust and corrosion on the barrels, the movements, all the actions, everything starts causing some rust and corrosion is what starts the same thing. So what I did is I started studying. I came from a novice side, so I started studying chemicals, why they work, what they need to do, because I really focused on rust and corrosion. And most people don't focus on rust and corrosion, and what they focus is on lubrication.
Right.
Well, what you got to do is try to get that metal to stop rusting and corroding, because if you can stop that or prevent it or slow it down, is the key. And then that's what I started focusing on. What's nice is I didn't come from the industry, so I didn't have any pre-advanced training, any previous thoughts or anything like that. So what I did is I started working on some products, thought about how to get water away from the surface, started studying about what causes rust and corrosion, started focusing on that. And when I started focusing on what caused rust and corrosion, and when I did that, then I hit the home run with the product. So It's so different than anything on the marketplace.
So did it take a lot of testing and research to kind of like perfect the formula?
It actually really didn't. My very first test that I did in the labs, most products have rust and corrosion on, like, if you do like panels and like their chambers for accelerating or testing rust and corrosion, most products will start rust and corroding in like 10, 15, 20 hours. This completely fell apart with rust and corrosion. My very first formula, I hit 125 hours.
Wow.
And they called me, said, what did you do? What was the secret? We thought the system was broke. We thought the chambers broke. We retested it, and we're still hitting huge numbers with your product. And then I realized once I got the surface clean and I kept water from getting to the surface is when it became a home run. And it really comes down to, and we've even got better at some of our technology. We all know oil floats on water, right? And we learned in second grade when you have an oil spill, it gets on the water and it floats, right?
Right.
So when you take and you put in oil on any metal, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a gun, fishing reel, tractor, whatever. And as soon as you put that oil on a metal, the humidity moisture goes straight through the oil and it sticks to steel. And the oil, because the water is heavier than oil, so the molecules go through the oil molecules, and it tracks it and it holds it on steel, and that's what accelerates the rust and corrosion. I'll give you a real quick story. Everybody talks about having their grandpa's gun, right?
Right.
You think about grandpa said, go put oil on your gun. And you always put oil and you put rags on it. And you coat it as much as you can, wrap it in towels and whatever. And you get out in 6 months, what happened to it? It's full of rust and corrosion, right?
Right.
So what happens is when you put that oil on it, it actually accelerates the rust and corrosion on metal. So it's actually one of the worst things that you can do to put, a lot of oil. Some oils are just horrible on metal.
Wow.
So Dave, I mean, obviously there's two sides of this. Number one, there's the rust prevention side. Number two, there is the lubrication side. So when you're formulating an oil or lubricant for firearms versus other uses, what kind of challenges did you have to overcome other than just obviously making things not rust?
Well, that's a great question. So my first test, I went after rust and corrosion, right? And then all of a sudden, my second test, I started going after lubrication. Good point, like you said. And then I figured out once I got the surface protected, that for stopping rust and corrosion, because everybody knows if when you're shooting in water, rain, everything, QMax is the best because it keeps the water away. Well, if I can keep the water away and I can keep the rust and corrosion away, and I can add some like lubricants into it, certain kinds of lubricants, it'll stay on top of the product that we already got a barrier. We already put a barrier to protect the metal, and then we add the lubricant on top of the barrier. It's a home run. That's why I know a couple of you guys are big Black Diamond fans and stuff like that. That they love it on firearms and pistols and guns and for its lubrication properties, so you layer it. It's like a great recipe.
Okay.
You put the protectant for the metal to help stop rust and corrosion. Then you put an oil lubricant on top of the water, on top of the oil, and then all of a sudden the metal lubricates. The rust and corrosion can't get to it, and it's a home run. That's why we have seen such, worldwide success.
Well, and there's probably also a really big difference, or at least a variation, with the types of guns you're dealing with. Because on one hand, you've got your traditional sporting guns, your shotguns, your rifles that you take out hunting, a lot of wood, wood stock, wood forearm. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got more of your military synthetic type stock. So I also imagine you probably have to take into consideration making sure that the oil isn't going to affect the wood. Like on somebody who's got a $10,000 Krieghoff, $15,000 Krieghoff with $4,000 or $5,000 custom set of stocks. I mean, you definitely don't want anything that's going to be real aggressive and affect the wood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it runs in the same principle. So obviously, that's kind of two questions. The first one is, obviously we have two baseline products. We have blue is for blued guns, anything high gloss, high finish, stainless steel. Anything you want a shiny metal to protect it, to keep it clean. And then the other barrels, like you said, the military barrels, the matte barrels, anything that holds moisture, you want something to go into it, lubricate more, keep the moisture out of the pits. And that's why Black Diamond works so well on all the black ARs and all the matte barrels and stuff like that. It's a home run because there's nothing that works with those guns, out there. And that's why Black Diamond's so successful. It has such a loyal following in that world.
Well, I had my barrels ported, and I noticed if I was using anything other than my white golds, my game bores, it would get a buildup, like from the bottom barrel to the top barrel. It would build up along the barrel. In other words, a faster burning powder. It would stick to the barrel. If I take the QMaxx Black, and I clean that barrel off with the QMaxx Black, because it dries, it leaves like a real slick surface, and then that stuff, if anything does stick to it, you just barely bump it with a rag and it just falls off. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a great point. So in that situation, that's why Black Diamond works so well, because when you put oil on any gun, and then all of a sudden you got your oil, your gun, and you're putting oil down your barrel and you're shooting it. All of a sudden I call it, you create that gun mud, right? So it's from the residue of the powder, residue of the liquid from the lubricant, because it's wet. It's all wet and soaked. And all of a sudden you start getting that buildup. Then it gets hot and it starts burning on the metal, accelerates the rust and corrosion of the metal, and it's just horrible. When you use the Black Diamond, you put it on the metal. It puts a barrier like the basic technology does. It's all about protecting metal. Doesn't matter what it is. You put that on there. It dries off, dry and clean. You shoot it. It's not picking up the mud on it. It's not caking on. It's not causing it. And that's why those barrels and choke tubes stay so clean. Because it is very serious. It could be a dangerous situation for a lot of people, and they don't clean those up. But that's why it's so amazing why it works so well in those situations.
Well, Dave, other than I know you came from the background, or that you came from the point of making sure that the rusting wouldn't happen, but also the lubrication side is important. And I don't want you to speak about any particular products or name brands, obviously, but in your opinion, what does QMaxx offer over the other common types of gun oils and lubricants that are out there?
A lot of people talk about rust and corrosion, a lot of products and stuff like that they want to taunt that deal, but they don't have the technology to really protect metal. Because if you can't drive the ingredients, to the base of the steel and metal, you're going to fight that rust and corrosion no matter what it is. There's some good gun oils out there, but if you don't stop rust and corrosion, you get like a lot of guys, in the military and stuff like that. They fight a lot of problems, or a lot of shooters take a lot of oil and put it on like pistols and stuff like that. and they're out shooting, windy, dirty, grimy, tough conditions and sand and stuff. All that oil does is grabs that sand and it causes that problem just to cause, all the breakdown.
So my question for you is two-part. Would you say that the QMaxx Blue and the QMaxx Black are the most popular for sporting clays?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It covers perfectly both guns. If you got a matte barrel, obviously black gun's perfect. You got a blue gun, blue is perfect. But we have some people that promise and swear that black's better on blue guns than blue, or and black the same way. They're just usually the shooter, they buy most of our products. They'll buy one and then buy the other,
right?
And then they kind of play with it. And some guys are like, "Oh my god, I love this," and I'm like, "Well, okay, it works." The main thing I care about is it doesn't rust and corrode, right? So, look how many stories. I mean, I've got stories worldwide, crazy stories. People, went snowmobiling or went, tough conditions, and they used to, their guns would freeze up and stuff like that, or guys would be into blinds and shooting up in Canada, and all the guns would jam, and except the guy that had the Qmaxx, and then they start all sharing the Qmaxx all over the place, and all their guns work. I mean, and they have great hunts, and I get letters and testimonies, and then people are pretty loyal to the product, and they never switch.
So the second part of my question is, aside from the blue and the black, what else does QMaxx offer for products?
You know what? We've got a whole line of product because what really God gives us a great blessing on is we learn to understand metal, about protecting metal, because there's not a lot of opportunities in the world that you can go and haven't reduced the carbon footprint in metal. So all metals rust. They have problems with it, between all the, the water, obviously the water and the metal. And so what I did was I developed other product lines. So we have an amazing chain lube. It's called H2O. H2O is a great name. People love the name because they know chain lubes are protecting about water. They don't want water on their chains. So They know it's just a really good gimmicky name. And it's a chain lubes to die for on motorcycles and dirt and grime, because guess what? It doesn't pick up the grime. It doesn't wear on chains. It's all that same problems. And then we have like industrial sprays, like industrial penetrating sprays, because once I figured out how to stop things from rusting, then I figured out how to dissolve rust. And once I dissolve rust, I would layer it. Like a lot of our penetrating oils, it works like rubbing hot oil. You remember, guys, when you got a young kid and you scratch yourself and mom, pours rubbing alcohol on your arm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's wet, right? And all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, it's dry. You're like, where'd it go, right? But
right.
What happens, it flashed off and it dried. But all the ingredients were on your arm killing germs. So I did the same thing with the penetrating oils, that I would go into dissolve and rust and corrosion, which was amazing. And then all of a sudden with dry, I would leave all the ingredients and, the base technology on the metal to help it stop rust and corroding. Because if it stopped rust and corroding, and, equipment would work well. And we have thousands of the reviews on the industrial and the Superior. We have 2 penetrating sprays. That's crazy busy.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, hey, Dave, I noticed lately, and I'm not trying to beat you up over this, but it's been kind of hard finding the QMaxx products. Can you tell us kind of what's going on there?
Well, first of all, it's a nightmare with supply chain. Supply chain is absolutely a disaster. So, we can't get cans. We tried to get some cans produced 6 months ago, and they told me a while back they're going to push me another 8 months out. They can't even get cans.
Oh my
goodness.
And
if you guys walk into AutoZones and O'Reilly's and stuff, half the products that they used to have products with cans, they can't get. So, here little QMaxx is, family run business with some amazing investors and partners. We're not big enough to be able to buy, 10 million cans, a month to be able to fight to get products. So it's a really supply chain nightmare.
Yeah, geez.
Like our blue and our black diamond and stuff like that, our bottles and stuff. I couldn't get sprayers for 3 months, 4 months. And everyone's like, what's going on? I'm like, I can't get product. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And I can't go get a cheap product and put it out there. And then all of a sudden it messes it up and it's just a nightmare. So that's really the biggest issue. It's just trying to get supply.
You're not the only one. I mean, I run a business and I've seen it all kinds of products, things that you would never even believe would be a problem getting. I mean, and everybody I talk to in one way or the other, no matter what industry you're in, there is some kind of a supply chain issue affecting everybody, whether it's boxes, whether it's nails, I've heard it from everybody. It's crazy right now. Hopefully it gets better soon.
Yeah. And I made some bad mistakes, in the business, that no one's ever perfect and there's a perfect situation. That it just, I bet on some other stuff and it didn't work out. And it was like, I screwed up. So I'm going back to the basics and say, here's what we do. Here's what we need to go from. It takes a long time to find out what the market is and what they need and develop. Everybody always talks about an overnight sensation. I've said an overnight sensation takes 20 years of somebody's hard work and time and failures, mistakes and all that stuff. I mean, I've made more mistakes than God knows what to do, but I did it for the right reasons, and try to be honest and help and do stuff. So it's just tough.
Well, one of my favorite sayings in business is that if you want to be successful, it's more of a marathon than a sprint. So
yeah,
it is. And so and I'm very, very blessed with the partners I have and people that we have, and just and it's like I said, I made some mistakes I shouldn't have done, and and it caused problems, and it's just now I'm like, I'm not gonna do that again. That one hurt.
Live and learn.
Live and learn. Exactly. Everybody's got a few scars on it.
So I know this is kind of a fun question. I know you used to work with some shooters. Which one was your favorite one to deal with?
You know what? All of them are great. I mean, some of the guys are just amazing. I mean, there's guys that have been super supporters of of ours and sporting guys like like John Woolley and a bunch of guys like that started early, and then we've got all kinds of great supporters in that. But it's just I can't tell you. I mean, we've got some amazing followers, amazing supporters, because it really is about their gun shooting and function well. There's always somebody that might like something that that you can't change some people's way. They've been buying some product for 40 years. That's okay. But usually when their gun starts rusting or corroding, and they usually come running to QMax and say, okay, I shot my $30,000 Krieg off, and now it's rusting. I'm freaking out, and all of a sudden, if you get a gun, what's crazy is you get a gun with some little bit of rust and corrosion on it, and you put QMax on it, it's just gone. I mean, it dissolves the rust and corrosion. It takes it back. And I could prove that, you could buy a gun and use other oils on your gun. In 5 years, your gun looks like it's already 20 years old.
Yeah.
It's lost the luster. It's lost all the bluing, all that. You can take a gun that's five years old or 10 years old, and you put QMax on for the original treatment on your gun. I call it seasoning a gun. That gun looks almost like it did brand new 5 or 10 years later.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Dave, let me throw this out there at you, because you brought up a good point about the rain. So let's say somebody's out shooting a tournament and, all of a sudden, boom, rain comes, it buries you, and it just basically soaks your gun. In your words, what would you do so far as after the tournament's over with? What's the process that you would go through to make sure that you're protecting that gun and preventing rust from starting after it gets wet?
I would put the QMax products on it. Any of the products, it doesn't matter, because what it does, you can have a water droplet, and you can put there's some cool microscope, microscopes, it drills down to the nano size. And you can see where you can have a drop of water and put QMax next to it, where the water emulsifies it. The QMax will go around the water droplet, lift the water droplet on the air, and run it straight off the lowest surface. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful stuff. So mainly when you get in that situation, spray it down with QMax, try to get as much water you can out of it, dry it down, shake it out, do what you need to. Then you at least that it's starting to push some of the water away, and then spray it down, do it again, and then you don't have any issues.
Well, if Mr. Alley over here would have treated his gun with QMax prior to it raining, he probably wouldn't have that much to worry about, would he, Dave?
Yeah. We got a lot of guys say that too. They're like, they say you get the QMax shield on it, so they don't worry and stress about it as bad.
Well, I was teasing you about the shooters to work with, because our resident pro, Mr. Rad Chad Roberts, is the one that introduced me to QMax. I think it was about 3 years ago, and he's a barrel of laughs, but man, he is a firm believer in QMax. He will not put anything on his gun but QMax, and that's what sold me on it from the word go. And then, of course, I've been using it all this time, and I absolutely love it. Do you think we will see a QMax grease in our future, Dave?
You know what? I've developed some amazing grease with our lab. We had a research lab. We came up with an amazing grease. And the problem is it's just expensive to make. And it was one of my mistakes. I focused on, the military and stuff like that. And I just kind of put it on the back burner. But I know a lot of people want a grease, and because its grease is unbelievably amazing, right? So if you got the grease and on a lot of guns, a lot of guys like shooting grease, but quite honestly, most guys don't even need a grease with our products because it puts that barrier on it. But still, it's nice to grease on some parts.
Right.
So it can't solve all problems. But we do have one in the hopper. But I just need a little bit of time and revenue to go after that market.
Gotcha.
Well, Dave, I used some of the CLP product back in the day on my pistols and rifles. Is the military still using CLP these days?
Yeah, we actually passed the CLP a while back on some products, and they are still using the CLP. CLP works on certain parts of its applications, especially like cold weather and hot weather. But the tests that they require are just a little different than I would do on some stuff. But they have to have one product that it might fly from sub-zero to weather to warm weather, and then within a week. So they have to have something pretty wide ranged what they have.
Yeah. So let's look down the magic crystal ball here, if you will, Dave. What's the future hold for QMaxx? What are your goals, or what are you trying to get to?
We're really just kind of trying to get the supply chain straightened out, trying to get to where we can even out and meet some of the demand of some of our customers and stuff like that. The short term is we're just really trying to get up to that, and take one day at a time to get products out and stuff like that. We long term, we have some great lofty goals and stuff like that. Everybody is, but if you don't dream, you give up a dream, you die. But it's main thing is just meeting our good customers, supplying customers products. Now we're starting to get back. We're getting back in the game a little bit with that we can order some cans and bottles and stuff like that. But right now we're just trying to get our feet on the ground because it's really tough.
Right.
Well, Dave, the $1 million question, of course, is if those listening to this podcast are going to want to know, where can shooters find Qmaxx? Can you give them any ideas about where to go looking?
You can still buy it on Amazon. Amazon's still really strong, and then there's lots of regional suppliers that have stuff online like that. It's still the best place. You can buy it on Qmaxx online on our website. In fact, we're redoing it now, so we're working on getting that thing redone. But Amazon's still pretty strong. They're the grill in everybody's world to get products. So,
sure. Yeah. If you can't find it there, you can't find it anywhere, right?
So if you're not on Amazon stuff, Amazon's still strong. And you can always send us an email on through Qmaxx information, info@qmaxxproducts.com. Say, hey, I need to buy product, or where can I get it, or whatever. We get lots of requests.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for spending some time with us this evening. If you got anything coming down the pipe, you want to announce it, give us a call. We'll get you on immediately, even if it is only for just a minute. But we'd love to hear back from you, and we really appreciate your time.
Well, more importantly, I appreciate the loyalty of our customers. Our customers is our base to keep moving forward. So they see great value in the technology. They understand why you don't want to put all the other products on the guns. It's just, I'm very, very blessed that having the people that we have is very, very loyal following. So,
well, in this game, the guns aren't cheap, right? I mean, they can get very expensive. I'm sure you've seen some crazy numbers for guns, and when someone's very loyal to a product like yours, and they're smearing that product all over that expensive gun, that tells you right there how great the product is and how much people believe in it.
Yeah, one question I was thinking about, one thing I'd love to do more and more, which we've done a lot of support with kids and, San Antonio Kids Rodeo and stuff like that, just amazing organizations. It's just educating young kids about protecting their guns, and understand why it's important, and quit breaking some of the old, myths about, coating your guns with oil and stuff like that. It's just, ours is about education and doing the right thing and be able to change it. Really the thoughts of people's minds about what they want to do.
Right. Sean, any closing thoughts, buddy?
No, I think that covers it pretty well. Jason's always spoken very highly of your product. I'm going to have to get some to try it out a little bit. Like I said, I've tried the CLP stuff before, but I will definitely have to get some of the Qmaxx black and gold just to try on some of my guns.
Black and
blue. Sorry,
yeah,
black and blue.
Yes.
My bad.
Black and blue.
Yeah, the black and blue, and give it a shot. So hopefully I'll be a user here very soon.
Yeah, like I said, we just have a huge line, just like our salt for fishing reels and stuff like that. It's just crazy for boat motors and stop and rust and corrosion boat motors and stuff. So it's just an exciting product line. It's just, if I quit making mistakes, we're going to be able to be a lot more successful.
Well, if somebody wants to do some research and see what other products you have to offer, what's the website they can go to?
QMaxProducts.com, www.QMaxProducts.com.
Good deal. Good deal.
No, I appreciate you guys. You guys got a great show. I appreciate the loyalty to our product, and it's an honor to be associated with you guys. So we'll all work and grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Dave. We appreciate it.
Great talking to you, man.
All right. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
Sean Alley, Dave McCreery.
Well, the guy definitely did his homework on his formulas. And,
man.
I mean, I know you're a big fan of Qmaxx.
Yes, I am. And you know how we are about promoting products that we believe in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I can't wait to get some to play with. I have used the CLP product, the military product that he had on some of my firearms, and I know that it worked extremely well. So I want to try some of the other stuff, and hopefully it'll be just as good.
I've been touting this to you for 3 years, and we have to have.
Yeah, but you also shoot a Kolar, and then you sit there and badmouth my Beretta. So come on.
Well,
my man has to think for himself. From time
I'm driving a Ferrari, and you're in a Yugo. So
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you couldn't fit in a Yugo.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever.
All right, let's get on to these segments. I'm kind of excited about this. We got Woolley shooting and OtoPro segments. We've got a special guest for both of them. So I'm excited.
You guys do not want to miss this one for Woolley. I'm telling you right now, it's worth the price of admission just to listen to that alone.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to it. All right, on the phone with us for this OtoPro segment is Jonathan Hanaho. Jonathan, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great, doing great. Jonathan, tell a little bit about yourself. Where you hail from, what kind of shooter you are, what class you're in, and what kind of gun you shoot.
I'm from Southeast Pennsylvania. I shoot a Krieghoff K80, and primarily I shoot trap, just starting to get into sporting clays Hellas.
Okay.
A little bit.
Awesome. So how did the whole thing with OtoPro come about? What made you decide you needed some quality in-ear protection?
Well, I was actually involved with another company for wireless Bluetooth hearing protection for a little over a year and a half, and it was not the experience I expected. And we finally ended up giving up on it. And I actually listened to your podcast on my way home from a shoot, and I got in contact with Grace and went from there.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about the experience as far as like the in-ear fitting and the ordering process. How'd that go for you?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I reached out via email to Grace, and she went out and found an audiologist in the next town over, scheduled an appointment the same day, had the impressions made, sent them off, and I think I actually had them back in a little less than a week and a half with the final product.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And then, so what product did you eventually finally go with?
I went with the rechargeable Bluetooth wireless.
Okay. And about how long have you had those?
Let's say 3 months.
Okay. And so far, how you think about them?
I wish I would have done it a year. I mean, it honestly was probably one of the best experiences you could get. I mean, like I said, it was a constant fight for 18 months with another company, issues with the connectivity and the Bluetooth, and I've had zero issues since, and it's been fantastic. That's
awesome. Well, you stepped into the higher end model, and I know that a lot of people are like, man, I'm already spending a ton of money shooting. I really don't want to spend that kind of money. But if you were having a conversation with that individual, what would you say to them about these?
Well, considering that you only get one set of ears, I think it's a small investment to pay in the long run for your health. The good thing is this model has 4 different levels that you can choose from. So if you're actually shooting, I use mode 2 for shooting, and you can still hear conversation and everything else. I mean, I use these for cutting the lawn, cutting wood. I mean, you name it, I've used them. I think they're phenomenal.
So you're not just specifically using them for shooting, you're actually finding other uses for them.
Yeah, but the primary reason for buying them was definitely shooting. But if you have them, why not use them? Especially the rechargeable ones. You just throw them on the charger. You don't have to worry about batteries. So I find ways to use them more and more.
Yeah, I get to the point, I've told everybody, I get to the point I don't even want to take them out,
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing.
And then let's talk a little bit about your interaction with Grace. I assume she's the one that kind of helped you through this whole process. I mean, can you tell our listeners, I mean, she's definitely hands-on, right? She helped you make your decision?
Oh, yeah. I told her the experience I was having with this other company, and she said right away, she's like, oh, I know exactly what you want. And we went from there, and like I said, it was literally less than a week and a half.
Nice.
The whole thing.
That's awesome.
Any regrets or last-minute problems that you've had at all, or everything been good?
No, everything's been fantastic. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better experience. Like I said, if I would have known about this a year and a half ago, it would have made my life a little simpler.
Gotcha.
Very cool. Well, Jonathan, thank you for spending a few minutes with us. We really appreciate it. And if anyone else wants to check out the same product that Jonathan has and maybe have the same great experience, go to OtoProTechnologies.com. Jonathan, thank you again, sir. We appreciate it. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jonathan. See you. All right. Joining us this evening on the phone, we've got Will Primos. Will, how you doing this evening?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. We got a big storm coming through Mississippi, big spring storm. It's turkey season. Everybody's going crazy chasing turkeys.
Heck yeah. Well, I got Jason sitting across the table. Jason, say howdy.
How you doing, Will?
Hey, Jason, good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, Will, we're calling you in regards to John Woolley. Do you know that character?
I do know that. Do I know John Woolley? Yeah, I know him.
Well, you know, he's opened up that new gun store, Woolley Shooting Inc., and we're going to talk to you a little bit about maybe a firearm that you purchased, or maybe several firearms that you purchased, and this level of service and stuff that you got from him.
Yes, sir. I heard about John Woolley. I went to John Woolley, and I said, look, I'm not interested in the sport and clay game. I don't want to do that. I'm a hunter. I want to get better at hunting. I cannot hit a crossing bird. And he said, well, let's go shoot. And I was down in St. Augustine, and we went out there, and I had my side-by-side 16-gauge hammer gun. And he goes, oh, my gosh. And I started shooting, and he started telling me, and, you know, he's looking at the fit, and he's just thinking. And I said, well, you're not telling me very much. He says, I got a lot to learn before I can tell you anything. But anyway, it man, I tell you what, it went from there, and I kept taking lessons. And then he's got a guy, Dale Bouchelon, who he trained, who's now a world champion FTS guy. He's unbelievable, out of Savannah, who works with John in his clinics. But we're talking about guns here. And, you know, after I did all that, I said, John, I want to buy me an over and under. And he got some guns. I went to the range, and I shot them, and I picked out a Zoli. I picked out a Zoli because of the way it felt, the way it shot. And then he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to order this gun. We're going to order a pattern stock. And, you know, John's from England. He says pattern stock. And I said, what did you just say? Spell it. And he says, T-A-T-T-E-R-N, pattern. And I went, oh, my gosh. So he said, we're going to get that stock in, and I'm going to let you shoot it, and I'm going to get out a file, and we're going to get out a rasp, and we're going to sand on it and carve on it, and we're going to make that gun fit you like a glove. And then we're going to send it and have a custom stock with your wood that you pick out. And that's what you want, some nice wood pick out just for you. And that's what we did. And I ended up buying a 410 2820 set with it's a separate. So you got the 12 gauge, and then you got a separate stock with a 410 2820 barrel. So you got your sub gauges. And I'm gonna tell you what, I've enjoyed the heck out of those guns. And since then, I bought me a backup, and then that was a Zoli Ambassador. And so then I bought me a Zoli Z Sport. So that's my backup gun, so I can shoot in the rain or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you what, this deadgum sport and clay done bit me in the you know what, in the butt.
That's a similar story we hear from a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, it's so much fun. And John, I could not hit across him. I said, John, with the ducks coming in, the wind's coming from the right to the left, they're coming into the wind, and they're coming in the decoys, and they're coming left to right. I won't even shoot at them. And he said, why not? I said, because I'm going to miss them. And he says, let me show you how to hit a crosser. To this day, because of John Woolley and his gun fit and his instructions, everybody says, oh, my gosh, these are crossers. Will's going to get all 8 of them.
No, right.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah, nice.
Well, Will, I want to back up just for a second if we can. For the people that haven't picked up on it, you're Will Primos. Can you give us a little bit of your background, sir?
Well,
the abbreviated version.
The short version. The short version.
Flattery will get you everywhere, but I started an outdoor company in 1976. I started selling dealers. I was selling to friends and just making calls for myself. But I started that company in 1976. I'm 70 years old, and I built it up, and we had a great time traveling, building videos and TV show. The deadgum elk work we did and everything was just incredible. Primos has killed over 300 elk with a bow on video.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's crazy because we figured it out. It was one element that had to happen to make that elk hunt happen. And we figured that out. But at any rate, so I sold the company in 2006 and stayed on, and then I ended up selling it to Vista. Vista is the publicly traded company that owns about 60 outdoor brands. Primos is one of them. They own Federal, CCI, Spear, Bushnell. Man, it goes on and on and on. So they still pay me to help them do stuff. I'm still the voice of the company on the TV show. We still produce the TV show. I still hunt with them every once in a while. But I'm just enjoying trying to slow down a little bit, travel with my wife, and shoot sporting clays.
That's awesome.
I don't think there's a better story out there, Jason. I haven't heard one yet better than that.
I can't wait until we do a whole podcast with this guy, because I can tell you right now, you better grab a bourbon and have fun.
Well, let me tell you what, I am an A personality. I can be extremely introverted. I can be extremely extroverted. But I'm telling you what, the Steadgum Sporting Clay deal done got under my skin. John Woolley, Dale Bouchelon, his team, John Woolley's team has been an incredible influence on me. I've taken from a lot of other instructors. I picked up every bit and piece I can. And just last week, I smoked it for the first time. I put all the elements together, including the mental game, and I was on cloud nine. I won my class in everything I shot.
Sweet.
And,
awesome.
Yeah, and it felt so good because I've struggled, I've struggled so bad.
No, that's good hearing, because so many people go through that. They get that frustration. And then when you finally win, when you finally take home that first place or whatever, man, you're on top of the mountain, aren't you?
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, it's a good feeling. I leave tomorrow at 3:30 to go to Husser, Louisiana to shoot at Covey Rise. And Covey Rise is a great facility, great sporting clay. The Louisiana State's going to be there coming up. And I just looking forward to it, and I'm telling you what, and the people you meet, oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'm meeting people from all over the world that I would never had the chance to meet. When I shot in the world in 2020 at Providence Hill, which is our home club, 25 miles down the road, I shot with the Hungary team.
Wow.
That's cool.
They're the only ones that could get here because of COVID. They were in Chicago when they locked down international travel. So they drove from Chicago. They couldn't speak a word of English, but they wanted to know where the girls were. I figured that out.
You helped them out with that, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
Well, Will, let's circle back here to Woolley shooting. You bought some firearms from me. You didn't stop at that Zola. You bought a couple more. Can you tell people your experience with Woolley as far as buying the firearm and just the whole process?
Yeah, so I've got a lot of side by sides. I'm an upland bird hunter. I travel the country hunting upland birds. I love wild upland birds. And John Woolley, in my opinion, knows more about the shotgun than anybody walking. He saw that my side by side fit was not the same as my over and under fit. And it's an English style. It's a straight stock rather than a pistol grip. So he needed to change that. And he did that for me. And it made it so much better. So I can shoot those guns. I can shoot the over and unders. But John understands the gun. So when he talks to somebody and looks at somebody and fits somebody, I mean, he's typically spot on. When I first took from him, he made for me what he called my new best friend. And my new best friend was this little piece of cardboard that showed me where to stand, where I was going to break the bird, and John's 6 points that are the fundamentals of shotgunning. So he understands the shotgun. I mean, John comes from England. He was a gamekeeper in England. One day went shot in Sporting Clays, and he just understood it. Then he began to watch the different people shoot and saw what they didn't really know what they were doing. But John was able to look at these people and pick out what one thing they were doing right, and he put them all together. And with that, his ability to see how a shotgun should be handled is tremendous. Now, it morphs, because as you begin, you have one ability, one skill, one understanding. And then as you get better and your mountain gets better and your mountain gets consistent. I mean, I've heard it said, I don't know how many mounts it takes to you really understand your mount, 10 to 15,000. But he understands that. So it's a journey. It's a process. And I'm gonna tell you what, he can set you in the right direction. Don't send no crosser at me, buddy. You're liable to lose a bet.
Well, Will, let me ask you this one last question. If somebody was coming at you and they said, hey, I'm looking for a gun, and I know you're going to tell them to go see John, but why is it? I mean, what's the deciding factor for you as far as why you would go to John versus going to somebody else?
Well, everybody's different. And you got tall people, short people. You got all kinds of people with different necks, different shoulders, the different abilities. And he's got the different variety of guns, be they Zolis, Blazers, whatever they are that he knows. And it also can help fit your budget. He can help understand what your goals are and help coach you and counsel you to make a good decision.
That's very well said.
That's very well said.
Well, we'll promise you'll catch up with us here soon. We'd love to have you on for a whole podcast.
Okay, I don't know that I can help any clay shooters, but we'll fake it.
Yeah, well, but I love your story. I love how you didn't even want anything to do with sporting clays, and look at you now. You're on fire, man. I love it. I love the backstory. So, and I think it would be really good to a lot of people that are starting. Really,
hey,
really,
let me tell you something. If you go sporting clay hunting, you ain't got to gut them. You ain't got to pluck them. You ain't got to clean them.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, but they taste like hell, Will.
Oh, Lord. Well, Will, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to talk with us this evening.
Hey, guys, thank y'all, and thank y'all for what y'all do. I love I love Dead Pair. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's a heck of a compliment coming from you, Will. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Y'all hang in there.
All right. Have a great evening, sir.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, Jason, I mean, speaking from somebody that has been hunting and shooting since I was, knee-high to the grasshopper, which never really was a knee-high. I was more young than little. You know me.
You're more of a hip-high.
Yeah, something. I drove home from the hospital. Mom was sore. But anyways.
Oh, God.
What, I can't say that?
The people I work with, I'm telling you what.
Yeah, you never know. But anyways, no, I've used just about every kind of gun oil, every kind of gun grease, every kind of lubricant. And I mean, everybody has their favorites and stuff, but this Qmaxx stuff sounds pretty good. So I'm going to give it a go. And I know you've been happy with it for the last couple of years. So, I trust what you're doing with yours. Yeah.
I mean, look, we can make fun of each other on, Kolars and Berettas and all that stuff. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what brand it is.
They're all expensive. And you want them to last. That's the thing.
Right. And this is a good product that's going to take care of your equipment.
Yeah. Nobody wants rust.
Right. Exactly. Well, I know you don't listen to a lot of podcasts, or at least you didn't until we started ours, but that was a big testimonial that David had. Is he went out and shot an event in the rain, put his gun in a sleeve, and forgot about it for 2 days. And when he pulled it out, it was still beaded up.
Is Prazzi?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was still beaded up. The water was still beaded on the barrel. In other words, it hadn't
soaked in.
The Qmaxx that he had wiped the gun down with prior to shooting.
Well, that's a pretty good testimonial then.
2 days later. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days. Boy, I tell you what, I can't tell you how many times I've been out deer hunting or rabbit hunting and got caught in the rain. And then, if you don't get that gun clean by the next morning, it looks like, 1965 pickup truck's been sitting in a field for 10 years.
Yeah, I got caught man, I want to say I was squirrel hunting. Might have been squirrel hunting. Got caught in a snow squall. And by the time I got home, you can start to see orange on the bone.
Rust was already starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't doubt it.
But they didn't have QMaxx back then.
No, I've always used the old hoppies and the oil and stuff. And
and
it'll work. Don't get me wrong. It'll work. But, if you have the ability to get something that takes it to the next level, just like, okay, I can either shoot a cheap shell or I can shoot a premium shell.
Right.
There's certain times when it comes effective and
but
becomes a necessity.
This goes back to something that Rich Cole said one time on a podcast. The guy goes out and buys a Ferrari, and then you see him at the gas station putting 87 low-grade octane in.
Right. Perfect example.
You know what I mean?
Perfect example.
Your gun is an investment in this sport. I mean, it'll last you forever if you make the right investment.
Take care of it.
But let's use the right products to take care of it.
Absolutely.
So
I'm a believer.
But anyway, what'd you think of that Woolley and OtoPro segments?
Great stuff, man. I'm still smiling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was cool, wasn't it?
Yep. He's definitely boy, man, he's a character. I'd love to sit down and have a bourbon with that guy.
Yeah. I don't think you could hang with him.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Even though he's got me by like 20, 25 years, I bet you not.
But anyway, hey, listen, everybody. We talk about our sponsors every week. We just did a segment with Woolley and OtoPro. Let's not forget Bear Pelt and Atlas Traps, Negrini, Rhino Chokes, RE Ranger, Game Board, White Flower. Guys, I'm telling you, now QMaxx doesn't sponsor the show. They were a guest. But just like we're bragging about QMaxx, we brag about these other people that are supporting the show because we believe in their products.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this show couldn't exist without our sponsors. I mean, that's what people have to realize. You go on YouTube and you watch a video, there's a commercial. Right. You go on the news, there's a commercial. It's just there has to be support. And me and Jason are proud to represent these companies. These are products we use.
And humbled.
Yeah, and humbled for sure, because they're trusting us to advertise their brand. And to be honest with you, I mean, we feel great about them. They're great people that are behind these products, great companies. I mean, gosh.
But it even goes beyond the advertising part of it, Sean. I mean, I've got people that call and text me and email me constantly, and you do too.
Yep.
Hey, man, did you guys really meant what you said about this or that on the show? And it's like,
yep.
Look, I am not going to get on this show and spread false information, okay? Nope. Especially if it's something that I've used and I personally have relation with it. And I've said this 100 times, and I mean what I say right now. If every one of our sponsors went away today, I would still purchase and use their products.
110%. You see me and Jason at a tournament. We got white gold shells in the chamber. We've got our Bear Pelt vests on. We've got our RE Ranger glasses on. We've got our OtoPro ears in. I mean,
we put our guns in a Negrini case.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we love this stuff, and we appreciate the sponsors trusting us to convey their brand and advertise it to you guys, but we also believe in it. So if you ever come up to us and ask us, hey, do you really use this stuff? Well, absolutely. 110%.
Right. So, and if I can ever get you out of the office, you come over and practice on Atlas Traps loaded with white flower
like
targets.
I've never been over there. Come on.
I think it was July last year. I don't think it was July.
Stop it. Just stop it. You're going down the wrong hole.
Anyways,
yeah. So, hey, listen, the whole point of this show, get out there, go shooting, take somebody new shooting with you, take somebody new to a tournament that's never been, show them how much fun this sport is and the sport that we all love, and hopefully get somebody else on the bandwagon and grow the ranks.
Yes. And until next week,
we want to see you all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.